A new version of Harley Quinn, portrayed by Lady Gaga, is due to hit theaters this September in Joker Folie à Deux, starring Joaquin Phoenix. From what we can see in the teaser, they may have changed one vital aspect to Harley's backstory, the lynchpin to Harley's entire character, and her whole point, really. What is this extremely, potentially dangerous change to an already frequently misunderstood and misrepresented character? Let's talk about it and find out. Hey nerds, welcome back to Comics and Cosmetics. I'm your host, licensed cosmetologist and registered super nerd, and today we are diving into Harley Quinn from DC Comics, a character I feel is quite possibly one of the most important characters for women in all of comics history. My biggest eye rolls in comic book fandom are reserved for the glorification of the Harley Quinn-Joker relationship, which truly exploded like the plague in 2016 thanks to David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Everywhere, you would see couples getting the puddin' and the ha 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 tattoos, the Joker smile tattoos, claiming Harley and the Joker as relationship goals, like Bonnie and Clyde. No, they're not. Like, tell me you don't read the comics without telling me you don't read the comics. But in all fairness, you wouldn't actually need to read the comics to understand that this relationship is not, nor should it ever be, your goal for your relationship. All you need to do is watch any of the Snyder-era films that features Joker and Harley Quinn, or Batman the Animated Series from the 90s, and it's blindingly clear that the Joker is a narcissist, a sociopath, and is completely incapable of empathy or love. Just obsession. And we all know who his actual obsession is. And it ain't Harley. I'll give you a hint. Can't really blame him though, right? Despite my feelings of super cringe and concern towards those who idolize these characters, I do think that Harley Quinn is one of the most important female comic book characters there is, especially for us women. And I know that there's a lot we women can learn from Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is unique in the fact that she didn't originate in the Batman comics like the rest of his rogues gallery. She didn't even exist until September 11th of 1992, when Paul Dini and Bruce Timm created her for Batman the Animated Series on the WB. Paul Dini happened to notice actress and old college buddy Arlene Sorkin on the daytime series Days of Our Lives. For Gen X, that was the show your babysitter or your grandma was watching when you got home from school. Sorkin not only serves as the inspiration and namesake for the character, but she went on to voice Harley in Batman the Animated Series as well. The character that Arlene played that got Paul Dini's attention on Days of Our Lives was Calliope Jones, who just so happened to be known for her somewhat zany attitude and very unique yet peculiar voice. In this particular episode that Arlene's college buddy Paul Dini happened to catch, Calliope Jones burst on the scene, zooming around in a clown costume while wearing rollerblades. This was all the inspiration that Paul Dini needed for the female sidekick he was tossing around in his brain for the Joker. 1 year later, Harley Quinn made her very first appearance in Batman Comics in 1993. So it was a rare occasion that a character that existed outside of the comics was actually so beloved by fans that they adopted her into the comics canon. Harley has since become a fan favorite. And thanks to her, if a Harlequin clown was a stripper with serious mental problems and daddy issues, look, it has earned her a place among DC's most instantly recognizable characters. Why the attraction, though? What is it that we can't get enough of from Harley Quinn? Why do so many women out there have Harley tattoos? Even the Harlequin pattern around their arms. I know you've seen it. There's so many out there. So many women have Harley Quinn tattoos. But why do so many of us women hold her in such high regard amongst other characters, normies and nerds alike? Is it the whole, she's crazy like me? Yes and no, because a lot of women have gotten the wrong message from poor Harley. You are absolutely, positively not encouraged to see this character as a ride or die or crazy in love role model. Not at all. Harley is a cautionary tale. One that says you can be brilliant and understand the minds of others. But the heart is a big, dumb, stupid animal that will run out and play in rush hour traffic if you don't put a leash on her. Harley Quinn has had a few updates to her origin, or a few expansions to it, if you will. However, it's never really truly strayed from the same basic elements. And just like the Caped Crusader, these key aspects to her origin are absolutely fundamental to the character she is today. They not only establish the reasons behind her very self-destructive behavior, but they're also what makes her such a vital character for women especially. Her name is Harleen Frances Quinzel. Fun fact, Arlene Sorkin's name is Arlene Frances Sorkin. The Harleen Frances Quinzel was born in Brooklyn, New York. She grew up in a small, impoverished suburb just outside of Gotham with her neglectful father, Nick, and absent mother, Sharon, that you never really hear from. Harleen's family was dysfunctional, to say the least. Okay. While her father was frequently a guest of Gotham Penitentiary and an alcoholic, all around dirtbag, her brother was a drug addict. As a child, Harleen's father, Nick, would sometimes try to abandon her, but she would always find her way home. Like, hey, you want to go to the park? Yeah, let's go to the park. And then he would just dip out. You would think that after a while, she'd start to pick up, I'm not leaving this house with you. No. But Harleen, she wanted her dad to love her. She wanted this relationship with her dad. So she's like, okay, let's go. Every time. One time when she was 5, he actually even traded her for beer. Traded his 5-year-old daughter. Seriously. This is not okay. But to Nick's surprise, little Harleen came right back home. It's also strongly implied that Harley spent time living on the streets as a child, in between his stints on vacation at Gotham Penn. But she had learned while on these streets how to survive and defend herself. Throughout all the abuse and neglect that Harleen was suffering under, 3 things were very apparent about her. She was incredibly smart, very athletic, and willing to do anything for the affection and attention she so desperately craved and was being denied to her by her family. That right there, that is the very first linchpin in Harley Quinn's character, and the one that is quite possibly the most relatable. Harley was neglected. She grew up and was molded in an environment where she was a problem, and if you don't want to deal with the problem, you ignore it. So she got ignored a lot. And when she couldn't be ignored, it was physical, mental, and emotional abuse. There was no positive reinforcement in this child's life. It was all negative. And the difference between positive and negative reinforcement is positive reinforcement is getting attention when you do something good, when you do something positive. And negative reinforcement is when you get attention when you're doing negative things, bad things. To a neglected and an emotionally starved child, either will do. Either will do just fine. If you're not getting any attention for the positive things you're doing, then the negative attention is just as fine. An emotionally neglected child is not going to really be able to differentiate between the two. The largest amount of connections and neural pathways established in the human brain takes place during childhood between the ages of 3 and 10. Think of your neural pathways like a map or GPS. Your brain knows where it needs to get to, and it absolutely knows the best route between point A and point B to build healthy physical and mental development. However, if those parts of the brain are being starved or damaged, your brain will recalculate and form different routes or connections based on what is being encouraged in order to continue to grow in a manner that will best suit that individual for survival. And though we may feel every emotional hill and valley here in our chests, our emotions are just as much a part of our brain software as 1 + 1 = 2. And how to fold a fitted sheet. Scratch that. I don't think I have that software in my brain. My sister does. I do not. Childhood abuse and neglect may seem normal while it's happening because as a child you don't know any different. The brain has created its own custom roadmap for your reality based on those experiences. This is why so many that have suffered childhood emotional, mental neglect, abuse struggle to see why those patterns that originated in your childhood continue well on into adult life. They tend to see themselves as unlucky. Many women who have also suffered this tend to see themselves as cursed in love. Their reality has been this one thing. They have learned or been trained that in order to receive serotonin and dopamine, they have to insert unhealthy habit here. When confronted with irrefutable proof that their reality has been manipulated or skewed, more often than not, they tend to lash out in anger and frustration, or even physically or violently because they're just not physically capable, because they are physically unable to see any other way. This is literally how they've been programmed. It does not compute. This is their reality. And things were no different for our dear Harleen. Thanks to her academic brilliance and her excellence in gymnastics, Harleen earned a scholarship to Gotham State University's psychiatry program, studying under the one and only Dr. Odin Marcus. College afforded her the freedom from the toxic environment that was her family home, and for the first time in her entire life, Harleen was being recognized for her gifts. At this point, Harley the college years seemed to be the beginning of long and happy life. Even though she was known to party, be a little wild, fly off the handle, have a good time. And while she was still studying there at Gotham State University, she met and fell in love with fellow student Guy Kopsky. He had an odd sense of humor as well, and he happened to be writing his thesis on chaos theory. He also did have a tendency to dismiss or ignore Harleen's needs. Guy kind of unwittingly took part in an experiment that was part of Harleen's graduate thesis, which she described as there are only 2 circumstances in which a person will completely disregard the rules of society: when they commit a crime and when they fall in love. Believing that Harleen had broken several rules, which she was, in all fairness, known to do, and that she had shot Dr. Marcus, the man who was not only her professor, but she had seduced and manipulated him into passing her and sponsoring her for her PhD. Guy believed she had shot him because of part of this experiment was dosing Guy Kopkis with this think drink so that she could push him and manipulate him to see if he would break these societal rules. He sees a man in the gymnasium and shoots and kills him, believing that he is Dr. Odin Marcus. He realizes, though, that it wasn't Dr. Marcus, that it was a homeless man. And when Guy realizes this, he loses it. Harleen finds him in the gymnasium laughing, and he actually asks Harley to help him end his life with the guy ultimately dies from a bullet wound, but it's never been made truly clear if it was self-inflicted or if Harleen did it. Either way, the fact is that Guy was willing to kill over something like Harley's grades. Harleen found this to be the hallmark of true love and saw it as romantic and proof that chaos rules. How very Sid and Nancy of her. Though Harleen had believed she had broken the cycle of toxicity in her family by earning this very difficult and complex degree from a prestigious university, she seemed to only be able to focus on one thing, just the one thing, that one part of her life. She was completely unaware, oblivious to her behavior while she was enrolled in college and in her relationship with Guy Kopsky. Her feelings and her needs always tended to take a back seat with her romantic partners or loved ones in general. She was overly needy, very clingy, depending solely on Guy for the entirety of positive feelings for herself. She would act out and manipulate situations, or Guy himself, in order to bring his attention back to her. No matter if it was positive or negative, just like with her father, so long as the focus was her. Nothing else really mattered to her. These are all hallmarks of a serious mental condition known as histrionic personality disorder, or HPD for short. HPD is usually the result of a childhood similar to Harley's. It is triggered by trauma, and 65% of people presenting with histrionic personality disorder are in fact women. HPD is commonly characterized by a pattern of attention-seeking behaviors and overly dramatic emotional reactions. People presenting with HPD may also be described as narcissistic, seductive or flirtatious, attention seekers, highly indiscriminately sexually active, manipulative, unable to accept any kind of criticism or disapproval, very gullible, and extremely dramatic emotions. And also very extroverted. They also can dress in a very extreme, provocative way, something kind of bordering on that's a little inappropriate. Wow. I don't know if that's brave or just wrong. Many women who present with HPD tend to confuse or entangle lust and love, because to them, if someone is paying attention to them, that is love. Therefore, if they're having sex with them, then they must really actually be in love with them. There's this old saying, it's women use sex to get love and men use love to get sex. And in the case of those presenting with HPD, the former is most definitely true. Harleen uses her sexuality almost like a weapon against her professor, as she later does on many occasions as well. It's her go-to weapon of choice in her manipulation arsenal. Another hallmark of this chronic mental condition is the inability to read the room in a relationship. They tend to overly romanticize platonic and romantic relationships. They see them as far more serious or intimate than what they truly are in reality, thus setting them up for heartache after heartache, leading them to the previously mentioned conclusion that they're cursed in love. This aspect of HPD is not mutually exclusive from platonic relationships as well. This is the woman that interacts with you twice on social media and then believes you're best friends. HPD women like Harleen also tend to devote all of their headspace and energy towards the object of their obsession. And it most definitely is obsession. And it's unhealthy. They may have feelings of lust or love, but when a person has a persistent, disturbing preoccupation of an idea, person, or feeling, often that is unreasonable, that is obsession. And it is quite usually to their own detriment. allowing their own life and achievements to fall away or burn to the ground for the sake of devoting every part of their being to morphing themselves into this undeniably perfect partner for the object of their obsession. While these personality traits and behaviors are on the extreme end of things, sure, there has to be at least one woman out there that just nodded in relatability and solidarity. How many times have you known a woman who's threw it all away for some dude, or has put their love life above their financial and practical life, or always being told, "Oh, you're so dramatic"? There is a reason why 65% of people that present with histrionic personality disorder are women. Like I mentioned before in our Linda Carter's Wonder Woman episode, women are empathic creatures. We are emotional beings. We have a much deeper and more complex relationship with our emotions. Therefore, we are far more likely to be injured emotionally and have stronger emotional needs. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever, except for, being emotionally injured. That sucks, right? But women being emotional and empathic creatures is just an important aspect of human life. It just is what it is. But here we are. She's not even Harley Quinn yet. And we're over here like, same girl. Same. Harleen does graduate and receive her doctorate in psychiatry, and she goes on to accept a very prestigious position at Arkham Asylum. Where else would an attention-hungry thrill seeker go in search of a challenge to earn her so many accolades than the most notorious mental facility in the entire country? Harleen wanted to make a big name for herself. And coupled with the fact that she and her previously deceased ex had followed his exploits in the papers for years with a little too much enthusiasm, maybe, there was only one clear choice for Dr. Quinzel's star patient, the Joker. Here's the thing. If a person with HPD was the prey, then a narcissistic sociopath is their predator, and the Joker would be the apex. Harleen's first mistake when taking on the Joker as her star patient / ticket to all the attention and glory was a classic and rookie mistake that a lot of us ladies have made at least once in our romantic lives. While simultaneously feeling overconfident in her abilities and underestimating his powers of manipulation, she believed she could fix him. I can fix him. And it's also the reason why women feel that Batman is the hottest of the superheroes. Because why? We're fixers, okay? Women love a project. What she could not and would not expect was that the Joker sniffed her out before she even said her name. The Joker is a classic case of narcissism and a sociopath. He possesses no true human emotions outside that which is for himself and obsession. Similar to those with HPD, narcissists and sociopaths are truly gifted at almost superhuman powers of manipulation. And just like HPD, this is a tool for self-gratification by any means necessary. Also, unfortunately for Dr. Quinzel, the Joker was fully aware of who he was and was in complete control of his ability to control others through manipulation and abuse. Harleen was not self-aware at all, and she certainly had no idea that she herself was a manipulator. It goes without saying that she did not see what happened next coming at all. Harleen was emotionally deprived and desperate, and the Joker was an emotional void, sucking in anyone who came within his orbit. This was his favorite prey, an emotionally damaged and insecure woman desperate for love and attention. The Joker easily charmed his way into manipulating and coercing and seducing Dr. Quinzel before the ink of her signature on his patient chart even dried. He knew exactly what she wanted and needed to hear in order to win her over. In short, he fed into her psychosis like a dealer given a junkie free dope. He easily manipulated her emotional damage and need in order to control her and get what he wanted. In a later version of the story, Harleen actually goes undercover as a fellow patient in order to gain the Joker's trust, completely unaware that the Joker was aware of her ruse the entire time, which made it even easier to manipulate Dr. Quinzel all the more. In all versions, though, one thing remains the same. The Joker seduces Dr. Harleen Quinzel into falling madly in love with him, breaking him out of Arkham Asylum, and her discarding her white lab coat for a black and red Harlequin costume and a life of crime as the Clown Prince's arm candy. She had officially transformed into Harley Quinn. Harley has literally and physically transformed herself into the perfect partner for the Joker. Not only by donning the skin-tight spandex bells and ruffles, she, in the original version, also paints all of her skin the same shade of pancake white to match the Joker. She gave up her hard-earned prestigious career and individual identity without a care or a thought. No mentally healthy person would do that. This is yet another huge indicator of histrionic personality disorder, an inability to live and or thrive without the presence of others. Since they spend most of their time as societal chameleons, morphing into different personas in order to please a potential romantic partner, they possess the vaguest and most superficial of individual likes and dislikes for themselves, because they have no idea who they actually are without another person. Harley burns her life to ashes for the sake of a psychotic criminal who manipulates, abuses her, and recreated her in his own image, even giving her a new name. Here she was, Dr. Harleen Frances Quinzel, the woman who dug herself out of the gutter by her own steam, graduated from Gotham State University with her PhD in psychiatry, one of the leading psychiatrists not only in Arkham but in all of Gotham. This brilliant, self-possessed woman threw it all away for the biggest piece of shit she could find. And that is the other absolutely essential thread in Harley's character that you cannot pull out. Without it, the whole picture falls apart. You can't tell me that you haven't by now at least pictured one person that napalmed their entire life for some loser, or that someone out there isn't able to relate to this on some level themselves. Someone who stood at the precipice of infinite potential and just utterly destroys it all with one horrible decision. She decided that the potential and unknown future with a confirmed psychotic, sociopathic, criminally insane, incarcerated, and for a good reason, okay? This isn't someone who got the shaft, like he's a murderer, he should have been incarcerated. Narcissist was worth throwing her entire hard-earned life away. She allowed her irrational self to take over and run absolutely wild with zero self-discipline. She never learned to control her extreme emotions, and therefore she was ruled by them. And it isn't even as if she gave it all up for happily ever after either. Because as soon as the Joker got what he wanted, i.e. breaking him out of Arkham Asylum, he started treating Harley almost with contempt. Harley's story is a tragedy. When the Joker wasn't toying with her emotions, he was completely ignoring them. Harley is constantly seen in the background in her overtly sexy clown costume, acting out in various wild, zany, violent, and boisterous ways to get Puddin's attention. He has used her on many occasions to bait and honeypot, to catch and torment Batman and many other characters in several of his over-the-top schemes. Is that what you do with someone you love? Is that what you do with a partner that you claim to be in love with and treasure? Speaking of Puddin', Joker had names for Harley as well. And some are rather sweet and innocuous on paper. For instance, when he calls her Harles or Harley Girl, he he's being as sincere as a sociopath possibly can be. However, he's using these pet names as a means to an end in a condescending or patronizing way. He may call her Cupcake or Dollface, but it's always with an infantilizing tone. And then there are times when he overtly chastises her, publicly and privately, by calling her names like stupid, attacking her intelligence. And that's precisely something a sociopath like the Joker would definitely target first and foremost. He doesn't want her to have any defenses, any support. He doesn't want her figuring out what he's up to or thinking that she could do better than him. He went directly for her greatest virtue and strength, her intelligence, her grasp, although a very loose grip on reality. If he's able to convince her that she is stupid compared to him, then it clears the way for him to convince her that she is nothing without him and that she needs him to survive, thus reinforcing her already skewed perception of herself. Thanks to her condition that she's nothing without a partner. If the mental and emotional cattle prodding wasn't enough, there's also the physical abuse that takes place. And we're not just talking about hits, punches, and actual kicks to the face. But the Joker flat out tried to kill her on multiple occasions, including in the animated series when Harley is in jail and the Joker initially is going to go break her out, but then he sees an opportunity to kill Batman, so he dive bombs a plane into the building that she's in, totally aware that she's there and it will kill her. He's tried to launch her into space, but she always comes back. Harley, still completely undeterred by the multiple attempts on her life, was still so desperate to get the Joker's positive affections. So much so that she actually kidnaps Batman. What does the Joker do? He beats the absolute shit out of her. That's what he does. Harley just showed him up. She's not supposed to actually do anything. Certainly not comparable or better than him, nor to his one and true precious. His maddening obsession, his Batman. And in later versions to her origin, the Joker actually tosses her into the same vat of chemicals that bleached his skin and disfigured him in order to remake her in his own image. You can just smell the narcissism. This version of her origin wasn't really well received by a large portion of her fan base, as DC had hoped. In this version, Harley's choice was taken away. What resulted later was more of an amalgam of the two, as demonstrated in David Ayer's Suicide Squad in 2016. Jared Leto's Joker gives Margot Robbie's Harley the choice to jump in the chemicals, which she does. Joker immediately walks away, intending to just leave her to die, but then changes his mind last minute, leaps in to rescue her. Oh, this is all, of course, after he had physically tortured her by putting her through high voltage electric shock therapy. Before he applies the paddles, she asks if he's going to kill her, and he says, "Oh, I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to hurt you. Really, really bad." To which she replies, "You think so? I can take it." Because to Harley, and to women like Harley, what is love if not the ability to take someone's mistreatment and keep going? I'm going to prove that I'm different from all the others. I'm going to show him how supportive I am and that I'll always be there for him. So she stays. Why? That's always what is asked of women when they are stuck in this kind of relationship or situation. Well, why did she stay if it was so bad? Please. As if that's some evidence to the contrary. It's because Harley has histrionic personality disorder. She doesn't leave because she's unaware that this is toxic. She's unaware that this really is an abusive relationship. As previously mentioned before, Harley sticking around is proof of her love for him in her mind. That if she sticks around and she takes his abuse without complaint or threatening to abandon him, he'll eventually see this and give her all the love he's promised. The Joker has turned love, affection, and positive reinforcement against her, like a carrot dangling on a stick, just consistently out of her reach. He promises so much, then constantly moves the goalpost. She is so laser focused on serving him and making him happy so she can feed this endless void left by the lack of affection she received as a child, that anything negative he does to her, she blames herself. She believes she is at fault. Whether it's directly or indirectly, she faults herself. She didn't do something right. She hasn't made herself lovable enough. She hasn't fixed him yet. If she wasn't so stupid, if she had just worn this instead of that. The list of blame goes on ad infinitum. The specifics don't really matter though, because she will always find a way to assign blame to herself because it's easier than facing the reality that this is failing. This was a bad decision. That this relationship with this abusive, murderous, crazy man with green hair and some messy ass red lipstick was absolutely not worth trashing her former life as a well-respected and paid psychiatrist for. She is unable to face reality. This idea frightens her so very much that she cannot even admit to the fear. So she buries it like shame. A very specific group sees this relationship between the Joker and Harley Quinn as an example of loyalty in love. Ride or die. The ride or die goal sees the Joker and Harley like a modern day Bonnie and Clyde, claiming that she's merely presenting with hybristophilia, also known as Bonnie and Clyde syndrome. You know, a cool psychosis. But hybristophilia is, as defined by Professor John Money, a sexual paraphilia in which an individual derives sexual arousal and pleasure from having a sexual partner, is known to have committed an outrage or crimes such as assault of the sexual kind, murder, and armed robbery. The really bad boys. Where there is a possibility that in some circumstances this could be seen that way, in the DC world, it's not Harley Quinn and the Joker, it's the Joker and Harley Quinn at the back jumping through obstacles, trying to grab the Joker's attention through any means necessary. While Joker is known for all the crimes that he's committed, hybristophilia is not why Harley stays with him. Just by observing Harley Quinn's attire, one can see that she does dress in a very overtly sexual way. And she and the Joker sometimes share moments of passion, okay? But that doesn't mean she gains pleasure from watching the Joker commit crimes. She commits crimes with the Joker because she wants his approval and attention, just like someone with HPD would want approval and attention from a significant other. It's easy to simply think that this group that is adoring Harley and the Joker for all the horribly wrong reasons has completely lost the plot on the relationship between these two characters. However, it could simply also just be a case of projection. They themselves are in a situation like a Bonnie and Clyde relationship, and upon discovering the Joker and Harley, they feel they have found the pop culture means to justify their possible illegal actions and unhealthy behaviors and beliefs. They want the Joker and Harley Quinn to be Bonnie and Clyde. They need that so they can ignore their own flaws and failings, their own abusive relationship, demonstrating that they're just about as out of touch with reality as Harley herself. Harley also gets misrepresented as presenting with Stockholm Syndrome, but this is something that happens when an individual is abducted and they start to sympathize and relate to their captors. It can start off as pretending to, but they develop false emotions and feelings towards these captors. Harley was not kidnapped, nor was she being held hostage by the Joker. They started the relationship off with technically him in the captured position, and he charmed and seduced her into a relationship so that she could break him out of the asylum. She chose to go with him willingly. And I know what you're thinking. She's left the Joker though. She's left him and she's with Poison Ivy now. And they're like fine. They're good. They're fine now. Everything's fine. Is she though? Is she? She never really even took the time to just be herself and figure out who she really is. In fact, Harley Quinn's body count is almost as long as the number of comic issues that she's been featured in. There were a lot of pit stops on the way to settling down with Pamela Isley, and not one of them genuinely cared for her or had been remotely mentally stable. Red Tool, Mercy Graves, Deadshot, Nightwing, and possibly Batman, you little scamp, just to name a few. None of these were substantial, nor were they healthy for her. In fact, most of them outright hate Harley Quinn. She does settle down with Poison Ivy, but even Ivy isn't exactly a paragon of mental health either. Nor does she necessarily treat Harley with love and respect all the time. She frequently talks down to her and ignores Harley, even if her relationship with Poison Ivy was the poster child for loving, healthy relationships. They're still criminals. Harley is still a criminal. She changed her outfit from the one the Joker gave her when he created her in his image, laying claim to her very existence, but it's still overtly sexual, and it's still Harley Quinn, the same name and persona that he gave her. She still presents this constant need for attention, and she's still living this life of very violent crime, whether it's robbing Gotham Bank or murdering people. And we're not just talking about Professor Pig and Nightwing. We're not talking about like battling foes here, but she's killed innocent children with exploding video games. Like, come on, a killer. She's a criminal. She is not better. She still cannot live on her own or have any sense of self. And she's still a murderer and just an all-around criminal and antisocial. Biggest takeaway, the biggest takeaway from Harley Quinn should in no way be that she's a ride or die, for whomever she's with. It's the fact that she is brilliant, genius level intellect, and a board certified, damn near celebrated, albeit formally, psychiatrist. But she has no idea that she herself is suffering a very serious chronic mental illness. She is unable to physician heal thyself. She was and still is perfectly capable of diagnosing and treating anyone else around her. She knows and understands the human mind with such wisdom and clarity, but she's completely out of her depth when it comes to the human heart. And that is the most important takeaway from Harley Quinn. Not that she would do anything for the object of her obsessive compulsions, not her outfits or silly way of talking, not her baseball bats, not her mallets, pigtails, or makeup. It's the fact that even the most brilliant and capable of us women can be taken down by our own stupid hearts. One of my favorite quotes from Shakespeare is, "The heart wants what the heart wants, even that which is worst for it." Gets misunderstood and misquoted all of the time. It isn't an excuse for throwing your life away for a 3-time ex-con who steals everything you own that isn't nailed down when you're not looking. It's a warning. Harley Quinn is absolutely, positively a cautionary tale. We are to look at her and be reminded to be patient and guard the most precious parts of ourselves, saving them for someone who truly deserves access to it.
You must choose, but choose wisely.
Or else you could end up getting tossed into a vat of chemicals. And let me tell you something. Blue never comes out of platinum hair. Okay? It doesn't come out. It fades, it turns light green, and then it just stays. Okay? In the new Joker Folie à Deux teaser, we see Harley, played by Lady Gaga, as a fellow inmate / patient in Arkham. If she truly is and isn't undercover, then this is quite honestly the most rank and dangerous change to a comic book character, in my opinion, to date. Making her just another patient at Arkham Asylum, they take away the warning she poses and reinforce the very unhealthy and dangerous narrative that this is an appropriate and aspirational relationship. You tear away the fact that this could happen to any woman. No matter how educated, intelligent, or wealthy they are, they can fall for someone who says all the right things and presses all the right buttons. Any woman can be manipulated. And of course, you can read all the books available, get all the degrees you can possibly achieve hanging in beautiful frames all over your walls. But you cannot, nor will you ever be able to math the human heart. That without wisdom and discernment, love is just as dangerous and addictive as any drug out there. Well, nerds, as always, we'll just wait and see. The movie's due to come out this September, so I guess we'll all find out just exactly what kind of Harley Quinn we're going to get from Lady Gaga. Well, nerds, that's all I have for you today on the character of Harley Quinn from DC Comics. If you like the content that I'm putting out there, please do me a favor and make that sacrifice to the YouTube algorithm overlords by smashing that like button. If you're new, I sure hope you subscribe and ring that notification bell so you get notified whenever I'm back with more nerdy content. Until then, I've been Danny, you've been awesome, and I will see you in the next one. Remember, check under your beds tonight because
Disney and Kathleen Kennedy are gonna get you!